Okay, here we are. Can everyone hear me out there?
Oh yeah, there we go.
Oh, look at that hair.
There we go. Yeah, man, I need a haircut bad. This quarantine's, you know, not being super friendly to my hair.
Okay, Grant, you're sideways on my camera. Am I sideways on you?
You're sideways on mine. Yeah, yeah.
It's unacceptable.
What?
We
Can,
good
can
now?
we ask the crowd if we're sideways or?
No, I can see you, and that's all that matters. That's
All
all that
right.
matters now. See, but yeah, I can't get over that hair. You've clearly
Yeah,
not
it's kind of
haircut
a
in several months.
fro. Actually, the last time I got a cut was that barbershop right below your apartment.
Yeah, I live directly above a barber shop. That's where I go. Oh man. So I got mine cut like a couple weeks though before everything went down. So I
Yeah,
got
no, I didn't have that foresight. No, no, no. I haven't gotten my cut in a long time. Yeah, as
well,
you.
you are the rookie. You're still learning.
True, true.
But how could you have foreseen this? You couldn't
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
So hold on. I want to get right into the good stuff. Is that okay? Are you ready?
Yeah, no, let's get into it.
All right. So obviously you're in your first year joining the group. Very exciting time.
Oh yeah.
But you've only been able to do one race because you just did one race indoors and you had big plans outdoors, but who knows when we're going to race again now.
Yeah.
So maybe people have forgotten that you've joined us and you're working hard. So just to prove that you've been putting in the work, what's the hardest workout you've done, you've
Ooh,
completed since joining Bowerman?
I mean,
One.
I don't know. You asked me like last week, and I would say the workout that week. This
Yeah.
week, it was the workout this week. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a step up. The hardest one, just physically and mentally, that really sticks out to me was right after we got back from altitude. It was maybe a week, a little over a week out from that race in Boston that we did at the end of February. And if you remember, we were at Nike. This was when we were still meeting as a group. We did like oh, what was it? It was 12.84 times two, I
Yeah.
believe.
I remember that.
And our first 12 was something like 3:07 or something, which is faster than anything I ever ran in college in a workout. And that was the first rep. And then, we come back and we're kind of cruising on the 8. I forget what we ran that first set, maybe like 2:01.
Yeah. Yeah. 2-0. We're
And
still
then,
warming up a little.
yeah, yeah. And then like a 56. And, if we would have stopped there, that would have been like such a great workout for me. Like thinking back to a year ago, just where I was and where I drew the line of like what was hard, what was easy, what's a lot of volume, what's a little volume. Yeah, and then you got to run it back and do it again. And I think we went 3:02 to start the next set, and I was just hanging on by a thread.
Yeah.
And yeah, because at altitude, I was having some Achilles issues, so I wasn't really working out much. So I think a lot of the guys were a bit ahead of me in fitness then. So I was I didn't even know what I was going to get out of my body in that workout, and managed to pull it off. But man, that was a grind, absolute grind.
Yeah, and then I think on the 800 we went 158.
No, you went 158.
Ooh,
I,
sorry.
I was like 201. I got dropped a little bit on that one.
Yeah, and then okay, so yeah, I guess we went 301, 158, and then 56 again.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and that's true. You were coming back from a little bit of Achilles trouble, so we were all like, I mean, by this point we knew how good you were because you've been hanging with us all fall. But yeah, just a little rusty. But we were already just impressed that you hung in there with that. And then we went to go race BU that weekend, and what'd you run there?
Ran 739.99. Barely slipped under 740. Yeah.
Yeah, that proved to us that you're just either a good racer or extremely talented because you really only had a couple of weeks of workouts going into that one, correct?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I started doing like half workouts maybe the last week of altitude. Um, and then, yeah, I had no idea what I was going to get on race day just because, I knew I had like a very good base from the fall, like better base than I'd ever had in my life for sure. But, I had no idea. I mean, you guys were slamming workouts like all of altitude, and I was kind of sitting at home or on the bike, you know, just kind of trying to maintain something while you guys were, you know, just cranking out intervals. So I had no idea what I was going to get out of my body in that race, and I was really happy with it. I mean, it was well paced. It was on a fast track, and just, you know, hung on for as long as I could, basically.
Yeah, that was a well done race. Very well done. But I kind of feel bad for you a little bit here, Grant. Like, this
Yeah.
is a very exciting time for you. Your first year pro. You just signed a contract, joined a
Hmm.
great group. You're young, enthusiastic, driven, and now you just got a total wrench thrown in all your plans here. So I'm curious, is that excitement still going of being a first year, or are you down big time? How are you feeling now?
I mean, things are still exciting. We're still like, Jerry's still giving us tough workouts to do. So, you know, you can't let your motivation slip too low, or these things will just kind of crush you. So, I'm still holding that hope that something will come up at the end of September or something. Maybe there'll be a race, but yeah, I mean, this isn't how you draw it up. You know, it's like, you know, you come out of college, you're excited and enthusiastic, and I think I've made a lot of performance gains in the past maybe 6 or 7 months that I've been with the group. But yeah, there's no way to showcase that. And, you know, you draw it up like your first year is going to be this breakout year. You know, you're going to have this big jump in performance and be around all these guys and slam these good races and get all these PRs. And sometimes that doesn't happen. I mean, sometimes there's no opportunities to make that happen. So yeah, just trying to roll with it. It's still not a bad life being a professional runner. So I'm definitely still thankful that I have like a job where I can go outside and run every day, and, you know, we're not too affected by this stuff. So yeah, I mean, it would be awesome to go out and race like in July or something, but, you know, you never know what's around the corner with this thing right now. So we'll see.
Yeah, you've got a good attitude about it, as with everything. You've joined the group, and it's been super impressive. Like, you're like a pro already. You're polished pro. You don't really need much taken care of. You're not a typical rookie. You really can't. Like, you've been a 5 or 6 year pro.
Oh yeah.
Why do you think that is? It's something about your college, high school program?
Uh, yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to attribute it to one thing, but yeah, I mean, when I was in high school, my coach would tell me a lot of, you know, hey, we're getting you ready for college. You know, like the work you're doing now is to prep you for college. And then in college, it was kind of like, hey, the work you're doing now is prepping you for being a pro. And now that I'm a pro, you know, there's not really like another thing to prep for. It's like, you know, this is the time to go all in. So I've had good guys to learn from, been taking notes. Yeah, I mean, if you remember my first little while here, it was just you, Evan, and myself.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys were both coming back from some injuries, and we're pretty dialed in, pretty focused, and like more purposeful than any athletes I've ever been around. So it was kind of like, this is how we're going to do things now. You know, there's no time to be goofing off and, you know, be distracted, because you guys were laser focused. I mean, coming off an injury, going into an Olympic year, it was me and you two. I mean, if I was doing something else or, you know, not rising to the level of you guys, then I would just kind of be dropped. I mean, it sucked to be dropped when it's only 3 people. So I
Yeah.
kind of had to keep up. I didn't really have an option but to kind of take what you guys were doing and try to match that level of like purposefulness and kind of professionalism and stuff. So yeah, I attribute it to you.
Those are two
Yeah.
good ones to get an introduction. That was a good choice coming and training with us, because you came a little earlier in like September,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
most people wait till maybe October, November, but you were ready to come right in and get to work.
Yeah. I mean, I was excited to go. If I could have gone earlier, I probably would have gone earlier. I was also so used to the collegiate system where, you know, you get to September and you're racing.
Yeah.
You know, and so getting to September, I was like talking to my friends that were still in college, and, you know, they're getting prepped for Nutty Comb or like Stanford Invite or something like that. And I was just like, well, I'm just running mileage right now. So it was nice to get out there. And I was also training on my own. So it was nice to get there, get, more used to you guys, get used to Jerry's system, get used to the routine and flow of just like the day to day, like, hey, this is how you operate. Like you go to core, you run here, you run in the morning, you got to do treatment. And because it's just different than college where there's a training room and it's very clear, like you go to class, you go to practice, you go to the training room, you go to your dorm. Whereas now it's a little more open-ended. So it was kind of nice being in that like more intimate environment, just being able to watch you guys, how you guys operate, and try to not copy you guys, but learn from what you guys have obviously learned over the years.
Well, yeah, and that's how our team is designed, to have the older guys lead the younger guys, and we just have a culture that each year that we do this process all over again, and you'll be doing it 3 or 4 years from now when you're an old man. You'll be bringing in some college kid and showing them the ropes. But
yeah,
I love that about our culture, where we're very willing to bring in people like another 5K guy to help him, and he's going to help you. And we have no problem bringing in big, talented guys and just hopping right in and working together. I do like that about our group.
Yeah. That was one thing when I was still in college looking at this group. One thing that people would ask me is like, hey, what is the group dynamic like? Are you okay with going into a group where there's some real firepower in the 5K, the men's 5K for Americans? And are you okay with being in that environment? Like, are you okay with training with the guys that you want to beat to try to make a team? And honestly, like, yeah, that kind of gets me excited. Like, that's where I want to be, training with the best guys, not, hiding from them and training by myself. And then all of a sudden having to race the best guys. Like, we work together great. I mean, obviously at some point we're going to have to all race each other, but like, I think we all realize that we elevate all of our training by being together, and, there's not really like egos getting in the way and people getting mad if, someone is having a good day and you're not. Like, I think everyone realizes that there's first of all, there's more than the United States. Like, there's people all through the world that are running fast. Like, you can't get too focused on just US men. And also, yeah, we just raise the level for everybody in the group. And I think we've turned that into more of an advantage than like a disadvantage or something that creates tension.
I was just thinking about, you were talking about a workout earlier that was 12-8 4x2. And
yeah.
What was it like having, because I think in that particular workout, like Matt Centrowitz takes a rep, and then next Bowerman takes a rep, and Lopez Lamont takes a rep, and now it's like your turn to lead. I mean, and this is your first year pro. Were you already used to it by then, or at any point does it dawn on you like 2 Olympic medalists, a world medalist, and American record holders are just leading me out on this workout? Does that ever dawn on you during workouts?
I mean, sometimes, not usually in the workouts. When I'm in the workouts, it's kind of like, hey, this is just how it is. Like, that's just my teammate, and like, they pulled me through a rep, and I need to pull them through a rep, and I need to take my turn at the front and try to get the split right. And yeah, I don't really think about it in terms of like, because coming into this group, like, on paper, my PRs are just way worse than anybody else. Like, I have way less accolades, way worse PRs. I'm at the bottom of the totem pole, essentially. So like, it is kind of interesting stepping back sometimes and thinking like, these guys have accomplished the things that I aspire to accomplish too. And I think it's cool being able to work together with them. And I don't think anyone thinks like less of the new guy because, he's a little unproven. And I absolutely respect everybody, but I'm not gonna, take a second seat and just say like, okay, you guys do your thing. Like, they're medalists. Like, I'm not that good. I'm gonna drop off here or something like that. There's not really much room for that when you're in a train of 10 guys, just hitting these splits. There's no time to pity yourself or think like, these guys are so much further ahead than me. So it is an interesting dynamic for me to see, for sure. Because honestly, like when I was in college, when I was even in high school, some of you guys were pro then, and I looked up to that class of people. And so now I'm training alongside them. It's definitely a different feel sometimes when I really step back and take a look at it.
Yeah.
But
it probably didn't take very long though to realize that we're all just human, a bunch
yeah.
of guys, a bunch of like just silly guys, like immature guys anyway.
Oh yeah.
For really nothing special.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, when we're working out, like people are dialed in and focused, but when it's not time to really like dial in, we're joking around, we're having fun, like everyone's making jokes, like making fun of each other. There's no person that you're like, wow, that guy's like the guy, and then everyone else is like secondary. There really isn't that vibe anywhere, which is really cool, because I think in a lot of other situations, with the amount of accomplishments and goals that people have, it would be really easy to kind of let your egos clash and see the new person as a threat, or see someone that is having a great workout and be mad that they're crushing it and you're feeling not that great. I think we work really well together, and obviously you guys established that before I got there. That has nothing to do with what I've brought to the table. Like you guys have that dynamic set. So
so modest. Yeah. Great answer. What has been the biggest surprise for you since joining ATC, outside of the weird stuff that's been happening, but the actual day-to-day? What's been the biggest surprise for you?
I think the biggest surprise for me was just seeing firsthand like how much harder I could train than when I was in college. Like people always would talk about like, hey man, stress is stress, like stress from school, stress from running, like it's all the same. You can't train really hard and go really hard in school or whatever simultaneously. But now that I'm just running, this fall, I was just amazed, like with how my body was responding to the increased workload. And obviously I was super tired in the downtime. Like I was napping a ton, trying to take care of my body the best I could. But like, yeah, just from a training perspective, it was really cool to see firsthand, like when you really dedicate yourself and like focus on running or whatever it is in your life, you can really get a lot out of yourself. And that was really fun for me to realize, like that what I was doing in college training wise ultimately wasn't that like crazy. The volume I was doing in college, even our like biggest workouts, are like half the volume and intensity of what I'm doing now. And the rate at which that has changed has been really cool to kind of look back and see.
Yeah, and that's probably amazing to hear, because it's not like you were you had to have been training pretty hard in high school and college, because just in case people don't know, you were NCAA champion at Stanford. In high school, you were the cross country national champion. You ran 3:59 mile in high school. So you were obviously an incredible athlete. You've always have been. But talk about your 34 ACT score. You're also really intelligent. So how did you become the perfect human?
Hey, I mean, book smart doesn't always correlate with actual intelligence, but
well, in your case, it does.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think my parents always pushed me to be well-rounded. I don't know. In high school, like, I don't know, trying to be an overall person, my parents always wanted me to be. So hopefully I make them proud if they're watching. I don't know. I haven't seen my mom's name pop up.
Is Mama Fisher on here?
Yeah, her Instagram name is Mama Fish. So if she asks a question,
Mama Fish.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Dang, I can't get this little thing to go away.
Say hi, Mama Fish.
Anyway, yeah.
Anyway, so obviously you were the perfect candidate, the perfect recruit to go to Stanford. Was that a difficult decision, or was that pretty obvious for you as well?
It was obviously hard. I mean, there's a lot of things to weigh in the collegiate process. Like, uh, you have the team, you have the coach, you have the school, you have whatever the social life is there. Is there like a big time football program? Like, there's a lot of things that go into it, but um, I felt like Stanford really lined up with what I wanted. Hey, my mom just commented. There she is.
Yeah, I saw
Nice.
her.
um, but yeah, I think it lined up quite well. I took my visits and really weighed a lot of options. But in the end, like it was where I wanted to be, and Coach Moat was who I wanted to be coached by. And honestly, the biggest factor for me was the team. I really clicked with the class 2 years older than me. They hosted me on my visit, and one of the members of that class was Sean, and Sean's still my teammate. So I really liked the group of guys because I knew I was going to be spending like most of my time with them. So that was the biggest thing. But it wasn't like a shoe in, like I don't even need to think about it, I'm going to Stanford thing, because different schools have different things to offer, and there could have been other places I went where maybe running was more emphasized than school, or school was more emphasized than running. But I think I hit a pretty nice balance at Stanford.
Where else did you visit?
I visited Wisconsin, Villanova, and Princeton.
Oh, you had to throw Princeton in there. You had to. You had to just see what it's like.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, there's varying, just different balances at different schools. So I wanted to see everything.
I mean, Palo Alto is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's got to be hard to turn down a Stanford offer. Every time I've been to Palo Alto, it's amazing. The weather's beautiful, and we know about the academics. So after you took all your visits, was it pretty obvious, or did you have to think about it for a while?
I thought about it a bit, but like deep down, I knew kind of right. Like after my visit at Stanford, I was like, this is where I want to be. And yeah, the other visits kind of confirmed that. And obviously there were things I loved about the other places I went, but yeah, I knew deep down that Stanford was where I wanted to be. And the more I thought about it, the more it just confirmed that feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of people asking how you balanced academics and running. For some reason, no one asked me how I handled that at NC State. But for some reason, everyone wants to know how you balance the two. So give us some tips. How'd that go down?
Yeah, I mean, it's the way I found a good balance for me was going too far one direction and then too far the other direction, and then you kind of oscillate till you find the sweet spot. I kind of looked at the guys in the classes above me to see what they did and how they handled everything, but there were times when I was probably too focused on academics and my running kind of suffered, and other times when I was too focused on running and my school suffered. And every person has a different balance. Like what worked for me probably won't work for everybody, but it was certainly challenging, but not impossible. There were like times you had to sacrifice one or the other. Like there were times when I could stay up, till 1 a.m. working on a homework and maybe get 5% more problems right. Or I could go to sleep and maybe get like 0.01% better at running. And, you kind of have to balance and weigh those things out and pick and choose your battles, because doing both at the absolute highest level possible, it's really hard to do. And so, finding what my priorities were and honestly, one of the biggest skills I learned by the end was picking your classes. Like finding whatever your major is, finding out what the hard classes are, picking the right times to take them, whether it's like during a redshirt year or a season where you're not traveling as much, and taking those hard classes then, and then supplementing that with classes that you know or have heard that are a little less work. Because if you get that wrong, oh man, I've done that before in certain quarters, and it's just brutal. The amount of time that you have to spend on school. You gotta like, my rule was like one really hard class, maybe one moderate class, and then easy classes. So believe it or not, Stanford has easy classes too. You know, it's just like every other university.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what'd you major in?
I was electrical engineering.
Oh yeah, not many easy ones coming across your desk there.
Yeah, so my hard ones were generally the electrical engineering classes, and then my like lighter ones were kind of, you know, the fun classes. Yeah.
What was a fun or easy class at Stanford? What was
Ecology for everyone. That was a fun light one that I took.
Oh yeah, just some light reading there on ecology.
Yeah, ecology for everyone. Yeah, there's you know, there's those little nuggets that you want to pass down to the younger generation of kids, like, hey, when you take CS 107 or whatever, you know, big time class that is notorious for taking a ton of time, you know, maybe you should try supplementing it with some ecology.
Balance it out.
Yeah.
Life is all about balance, as you've learned.
Yeah.
As you know. Let's get back to the athletic part. Okay, so you won NCAA championship as a freshman, right?
I was a sophomore.
Sophomore. So very early in the game. Came out and stated that you were the man. But we've got a lot of questions here about the Morgan McDonald rivalry, which really heat up, I feel like, until your senior year when you guys started going at it, and just some famous battles.
Yeah.
So talk about, do you think it's a rivalry? How are you and Morgan McDonald? What are your feelings on that whole situation?
Yeah, I mean, I think Morgan's a good guy. Obviously, when I got on the track, like, I wanted to beat him, and he obviously wanted to beat me too. Yeah, the things didn't really heat up until my senior year. I believe it was because he redshirted the year before, and came back for a full fifth year. Yeah, because they had, you know, they were hosting cross at home and stuff, and yeah, so the year before we really didn't have any like battles. The times before, I had like a lot of really good races against Sean and against Justin Knight. And then, yeah, when I was a senior, almost, I mean, every championship you could count on Morgan being in a position to win the race, and me being in a position to win the race. And, you know, my senior year, Morgan got the best of me almost. Yeah, most times Morgan got me. But I mean, those were fun battles. Yeah, I wouldn't say like we hate each other, but, you know, just like with anybody, like when you race them, you want to beat them.
Yeah, you want to get them back for sure.
Yeah.
You want to get them back.
Oh, absolutely. So, yeah, he's running professionally now too, so I'm sure we'll run into each other again. Because we had races against each other from the time I was a freshman to when I was a senior. So the saga is not over yet.
No.
I'm sure we'll have some good battles, and yeah, hopefully I'll see him
Only
again.
just begun. It's kind of interesting, like in the NFL draft, the top two quarterbacks taken, I feel like, are forever linked.
Yeah.
They're always compared. And I have a feeling that you and Morgan will be always linked in this sort of rivalry. It may not be a heated rivalry, but I think those comparisons are always going to be made. So does that scare you, frighten you, or motivate you?
No, that's exciting, especially because he got me the last few times. So it'll be fun next time. You know, maybe it's next year at this point that we'll be able to kind of see like how have either of us progressed. And yeah, it will be cool looking back, I think, because sometimes people talk about like classes of guys, and we'll forever be in the same like grad or class of guys going pro. So yeah, it'll be fun. I mean, honestly, Morgan pushed me to race much more or much better than I would have raced if there were nobody there. You know, if I were winning those races and nobody was near me, the motivation would have been different. All things would have been a little different. So even though like, yeah, I guess we raced each other most when I was a senior, but Yeah, I think going forward it'll be fun to see him, because I'm sure even though uh, he'll be competing for Australia, we'll run into each other at a ton of meets. So
Yeah.
it'll be
I
fun.
remember
Yeah,
watching those battles, and he kind of has like this sort of like muscular style to him. He's well built. He's
yeah,
got the facial hair, like flopping hair everywhere.
yeah,
And you just have like this baby face. Like he looked like a man among boys, and you still had this like fresh face look to you. So
yeah.
we were kind of like, oh yeah, Grant's the one with all the potential here.
Yeah, yeah. I've kind of always had the baby face. So yeah, I've always looked quite a bit younger than what I am. Which, you know, someday it'll pay off when I'm 50 and look a little younger. But, you know, yeah, that's kind of how I am. Like I think when I was in university, like the older guys kind of thought of me as like kind of the rookie or the freshman for a while, like the baby, you know? So, because I definitely looked really young. I mean, believe it or not, I looked even younger then.
I don't.
No, yeah.
I don't.
So, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I grow a little bit of facial hair. I think it puts maybe a couple months on me. Gives me maybe an extra 6 months. I don't have very much right now. A little stove.
I don't see it.
Yeah.
I shaved this morning, but it's hard to keep up. So we're talking about racing here. Have you ever had a bad race? Because you seemingly just have good races. You're seemingly just amazing all the time. Have you ever had a bad race?
Yeah, I mean, everybody has bad races. I think I'm pretty good at salvaging races. Where like before they like, if I know I'm feeling bad or like things are kind of falling apart, I think I've gotten pretty good at just turning it into an okay race, and not letting the wheels completely fall off. I had a couple bad ones my freshman year of college where like I just blew up, and whether it was in like a 1500 or like a 5, I kind of just blew up and got dropped, and kind of let the wheels come off and let myself kind of fade back, and didn't really put up like a ton of a fight. And yeah, let me think. I had one really bad one the first round of Pac-12s my freshman year. I just like blew up and got like second to last in the heat or something.
Didn't make the final.
Didn't make the final. No, not even close. But yeah, no, I mean, good and bad are relative terms.
You do have bad races though, but
Yeah,
here's
yeah,
about
yeah.
the bad ones. But this is an up and down sport. It's never.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, sometimes like from the outside it might look like a good race, and you talk to the person and they might be like, that was terrible. I made so many mistakes and all this stuff. So yeah, relative terms.
So, but anyway, you had more good races than bad, and we had our eyes on you actually for a couple of years. All the guys and Jerry were talking about you for literally like 3 seasons before you actually graduated. And we were like, okay, this is the guy. This is obviously the guy that we want. When he comes out, we want this guy. So it was a huge plus when we actually got you. That was huge.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I didn't know you guys were scouting me like that.
Oh yeah. We have a very intense scouting department.
All right.
Made of Jerry mostly. It's a one-man scouting department. So we pulled you in. I don't know how, but you have been everything as advertised. You stepped right in, and you basically didn't get dropped. I mean, do you remember the first workout that you actually got dropped in?
The first time I actually got dropped was probably that workout that I mentioned at the beginning, where we had just come back from camp, and yeah. I got dropped on that 8. But yeah, the strength stuff, I was able to hang on quite a bit in the fall with all the strength. It did help. We would do hills and we would run them separately, so you didn't really know, if you were getting dropped or not. But yeah, that was probably the first time. And as workouts kind of ramped up in the springtime, like before all the Corona stuff, and we were still like going to Nike and hitting these workouts, there were some where I was like, yeah, just kind of falling off a little bit at the end, which is not a good feeling. But it happens when you're training with some of the best guys in the world. So
yeah,
Yeah.
You had a fantastic fall, and our falls are somewhat epic. Like
Yeah.
it's our off season, but we are working so hard in November and December, doing
Yeah.
crazy stuff. What kind of mileage were you putting in that time of year? And talk about like our biggest, craziest fall workout for you when you joined.
Yeah. I think I was running about like 80 to 85 miles a week, Jerry miles a week, in the fall. And for those that don't know, Jerry miles are your miles are just logged at 7-minute pace. Doesn't matter how fast you're running, 7-minute pace. So if you want to get 5 miles, you have to run 35 minutes. It doesn't matter if you're running 4:30 pace on this easy run, you log it at 7. So, yeah, I was running about 80 to 85, which was a step up from what I was doing in college for sure. And
I want you to call them Badger miles. It wasn't invented by the previous Wisconsin.
True. Yeah.
We call them Jerry miles now, though.
Yeah. I'm not gonna put respect on the Badger's name, I'm loyal to Stanford, but yeah, the fall was really interesting because I remember the first workout I did was with you and Evan, just me and you two, and we were on the grass at Nike, and Jerry drew out the big loop, and we were running the reps and stuff. And beforehand, my agent is there, Alistair, and he comes up to me and he's like, the way Jerry does these workouts, he only thinks they're, good or hard enough if a couple of the ducklings can't complete it. And I was like, the ducklings?
Wow.
And I looked over and I see you and I see Evan, and I'm just like, well, I'm probably the duckling here that he's being referred to, when there's 3 people working out,
Yeah.
Yeah, but I managed to finish that one. And then from there, it was like every week or every 2 weeks, we added 1 mile of volume or so to the workout. And already to begin with, the first workout we did was the most mileage I'd ever done in a workout. And so we went from maybe 6 miles of work to 7 miles of work, and then 8 miles of work, and then to 9, and then we were at 10 at some point in the fall. And that was just so much more volume than I had ever done in my life, but I felt very prepared for it by the time we did it. And probably the hardest one we did was when we did a 4 mile, and then we did a 3, and then we did a 2, and then we did a 1.
Yes.
Out on the turf
with 90 seconds rest in between those, right?
90 seconds rest. I forget the pace, if we were going 450 or maybe somewhere around there.
I think 450, and until the last mile, I think we ran substantially faster.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If I recall correctly.
Yeah.
I don't remember who the culprit was. I can't remember.
That was on me, yeah.
Oh!
Yeah. But yeah, that workout was just oh, what a grind. And also, we say the pace, but Jerry marks out this loop, and you don't really know how long it is. So we're doing 450 based on what Jerry has told us where the 400 is and the 800 and the mile and stuff. So, who knows how fast we could have been running 5:10, I guess, too. But
you can see that the cone is farther outside than it was last week.
Yeah. Oh, it felt like every week the loop got bigger and bigger and bigger, but the reps got longer and longer too. So that was definitely the hardest one. Just getting through that 4 mile and just be like, man, I've got 3 reps to go. And I think by the final rep, as you kind of alluded to, I was going to lead the last mile. And I think Jerry came up to me beforehand and was like, Grant, do you want to do this last rep? Can you do it? And I was like, yeah, I'll feel it out. And I was just like, all right, I got to get out hard. Cause I might die. I need to set the pace and feel it out. Cause if I go out slow, it's going to be so hard to accelerate. And I think I just got really excited and went out in 68 or something.
Yeah.
And then got really tired. And then I just kind of peeled off to the side. And I think you went to the front. And then I just tucked back in and survived.
And I kept it going.
Yeah, yeah, and you ran the correct pace.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what are teammates for, you know?
Oh yeah.
We're
I
here
mean,
to help each
that
other.
was a perfect example of like, no way I could have done that on my own. Like, no way I could have done any of those workouts on my own, because I wouldn't have built up in the same manner that I did with teammates, you know. So it was fun, but yeah, I mean, it's to kind of elaborate on that. It's crazy to be able to do 10 miles of work with the team and lead 1 mile. Like, how many groups in the US are there that, you know, you can do really quality stuff, 10 miles worth of it, and lead 1 rep? It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, not many.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm seeing it. Someone's asking if you're planning on running the Olympics. I mean, obviously you want to, but it's reminding me of something else. You were actually born in Canada.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered or debated if you'd rather be compete for Canada, compete for USA? Where are you at in that process?
Yeah. So yeah, I was born in Canada. I moved to the US when I was 4. So I have Canadian citizenship. I'm a dual citizen, so I have American citizenship too. I know Woody's listening closely to this question. Woody asks me this
Just
all
our
the time.
teams are watching this, but
Woody's always like, man, you know, thought about running for Canada. But yeah, I technically could run for Canada. I feel like I'm much more of a product of the American system, though. I lived in Canada for 4 years. I was very young. I love Canada. I mean, I growing up, I would go back there every summer and hang out in British Columbia with my family. But yeah, I went to school in the US, went to US public school and high school and college here, and I'm definitely a product of the American system. I feel much more like Americanized than Canadian. So yeah, I mean, going forward, I'm planning on running for the US. Obviously, I haven't done that yet, but hopefully 2021 can potentially get on the team and ride it from there.
much respect.
Yeah.
Respect your position on the matter. So we've got some less serious questions that I think need to be addressed.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Celebrity crush.
Ooh. I don't know. I might have to go with Alex Morgan.
Oh,
yeah,
that one coming.
Yeah. No, I was a big soccer guy growing up. So Alex Morgan, like the equivalent of like speed goggles, would be like, I don't know, ball goggles seems kind of a weird term, but I'm a soccer goggles. Maybe that's a little
Soccer
better.
goggles. Let's definitely not call it ball goggles. That's very misleading.
Yeah, no. Yeah, soccer goggles.
That's a good answer. Yeah, so you like a nice sporty celebrity. Okay, I was expecting a movie star. Great answer. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, no.
What's your love language?
My love language.
You're aware of the love languages? You know, I think there's 5 of them.
No, I'm not aware. You might have to list them for me.
There's like words of affirmation, gifts. We may need some help from if you don't even know the book, this is.
Yeah, I got nothing here. Of those ones, I'd say gifts, I guess. I do like giving gifts.
I sometimes forget how young you are, Grant. Of course you wouldn't know about the love language.
Yeah, I don't know this thing.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay, so at Run Paul wanted to know, what do you do about thigh chafing?
Thigh chafing?
Yeah, he's asking for a friend.
Oh, yeah. Well, for your friend, I've actually never dealt with that. Isn't that incredible?
Oh.
Yeah, I got some tough thigh skin.
Yes.
Yeah, no. I mean, I know a lot of people use Body Glide, but for some reason, I just, haven't really had that.
Well, if that ever does happen as you get a little older here, Vaseline. Vaseline is a runner's best friend.
Yeah.
Without it, Vaseline.
Sorry, I don't have a very good answer for that. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, you don't
Vaseline.
have love language?
Or I love calling Vaseline Vaseline, and people get mad at me when I call it Vaseline. Like it's spelled Vaseline.
Yeah, don't do that. Please.
Yeah, no.
Don't do that. Okay. Favorite cereal?
Favorite cereal, Lucky Charms, for sure. Lucky Charms, Cinnamon Toast Crunch is a close second. Lucky Charms mostly for the nostalgia of just digging for the charms, just raiding all of the marshmallows and then having the cereal itself was garbage, trash, bottom tier actual cereal, but just my siblings and I just picking through all the marshmallows and just raiding them all. That's more nostalgia. I think if I haven't had Lucky Charms in forever, but I think if I had it again, it'd be more of a nostalgia thing. Pure taste, Cinnamon Toast Crunch is just that's top tier.
I'm with you there. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, all-time #1 cereal. I mean, there is no second place for me.
Yeah, that's top
category
tier.
of its own.
Yeah.
Yeah. So last week, Kate and Marielle were discussing cereals, and they both prefer soggy cereals. I mean, where do you stand on sogginess of your cereal?
No. Yeah, no, I'm not a soggy guy. I definitely like with any of my food, I would take crispy over soggy.
Yeah.
I think the crunch is a very important factor. It's Cinnamon Toast Crunch, not Cinnamon Toast Soggy.
Yeah, obviously we're partial to the crunch.
Yeah. I'm definitely more of a crunch guy. I mean, this is also a big debate, but I put in my milk first. No, sorry, the other way. I put in my cereal, and then I put in my milk, and then I eat it. I'm not about to wait.
And do you drink your milk
afterwards?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's kind of takes the flavor. Because when I was you know those bowls when you were a kid that had a little straw attached to them?
No.
Really? Oh,
never had it.
Yeah, so it's a bowl, and then built into the bowl is a straw, and the bottom of the straw goes to the base of the bowl, and so you eat your cereal or whatever, and then you just go to the straw and you just drink the milk. It's awesome.
Okay, I'm glad that we see perfectly eye to eye on the cereal situation.
All right, good.
Thank God. Thank God. We don't have to cover this at practice.
All right, we got a lot of comments about the bowl, so I'm glad I wasn't the only person with the bowl.
Someone just said I didn't have a childhood because of the bowl cereal straw situation. Look, you pour the cereal first, you pour the milk, you drink the milk. This is a very simple situation.
Yeah. I messed that up when I first spoke, but definitely cereal first.
Yeah.
And then milk. Yeah.
Thank goodness. What cereal do you have now? This is the last cereal related question, by the way.
I don't think I have any cereal right now. I think I'm out. I need to go to the store. That's the thing.
You do.
Yeah, I know. I live right across the street from the store. But you got to limit your trips right now, Try to, I need to eat all the food in my fridge and pantry, and then I'll go back to the store and get some food. I'm trying to do my part, man. Come on.
You got to do your part.
Yeah.
Okay, this last question, and this is a little more serious. We're going back to serious here.
All right.
Okay, so you're obviously still a young man, right in the prime of your career. But if you had to project way down the line using your big, fancy Stanford degree, what are your long-term life goals? Post-running, talk about maybe career aspirations. What do you see beyond running for yourself?
Yeah. Beyond running, obviously professional running, you want to make it last as long as you can, but who knows how things are going to be in a year, or maybe I'll be Lopez and be 35 and just still going and trucking along. But you never know what's going to come. So I think a lot of what I did in university was tech-based stuff. So I'd love, after I'm done running, to get back into that scene. And I did a lot of programming in college, and I took more computer science classes than I did electrical engineering in the end. So I would love to get back into a software field and do something with programming and stuff. So that would probably land me somewhere on the West Coast. I mean, Silicon Valley is right outside of Stanford, so could be there. Could go up to Canada. In case another pandemic strikes, it's a little less densely populated there.
Oh wow, you
a little safer
to Canada.
Potentially. Avoid the next pandemic, man. got to go where it's less populated.
You might be well ahead of us on that one.
Yeah.
Good thinking. Well, I'm sure in athletics or whatever career you decide, if you bring the same attitude and work ethic you do every day of practice, you're going to be a success. You're going to be fine no matter what.
All right. Thanks, man. Yeah.
That's a fantastic interview. Anything else you want to say to the people before we log off?
No. I'm just happy that people showed up. I mean, I was talking to Ryan maybe a week ago when the idea first came up about doing this, and we were like, how many viewers do you think we can get? And I was like, man, if we can crack 100 at one point, that'd be awesome. and looking right now, we're at 140.
Yeah, you definitely moved the needle. The people want to know what you think, clearly.
All right, they want to hear, your interview style.
Obviously. Yeah. I thought we were going to have 30 people, so I'm very happy. That was a great interview. I learned a little bit about you. I hope everyone else did too.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I'm logging off. Good seeing you, Grant.
Yeah, adios, man.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, wait.
What?
How do we get out?
End it.
I'm trapped.
And now?